The night in the small African town of Oba was cloaked in silence, broken only by the distant howl of a stray dog and the restless rustle of palm fronds swaying in the harmattan breeze. In that silence, whispers traveled like ghosts. Whispers of a man who should have been dead, yet whose shadow had returned to walk among the living. His name was John, a man once known for his laughter that filled the narrow streets and for the kindness that made strangers feel like kin. John had been betrayed, lured to the edge of the riverbanks under the cover of darkness by someone he trusted like a brother. Jasper, his childhood friend. There, in the night, thick with secrets, a knife had pierced John's chest. His body was left to sink beneath the dark currents, his screams silenced by a rushing of waters. The town mourned briefly, then forgot. But the earth does not forget blood, and neither does the spirit of a man whose life was unjustly stolen. 1 year later, as the harvest moon rose high above Oba, a figure appeared at the outskirts of the town. John's frame was unmistakable. The broad shoulders, the scar above his brow, the heavy eyes that carried both gentleness and grief. Yet there was something different now, a stillness about him, like a man who no longer breathed, but carried within him the weight of silence and shadows. His feet left no prints on the dusty road, and though his lips never parted, every heart that saw him felt an unspoken cry for justice. The children were the first to whisper, "John has come back." The elders, with trembling lips, muttered prayers. Mothers clutched their children close, while men shook their heads in denial. But the truth could not be hidden. He had returned. Jasper heard the rumors with disbelief. He had buried his secret in the river, buried it beneath layers of denial and prayer. But when he saw John standing by the baobab tree near the marketplace, eyes fixed on him, unblinking, his soul split open with fear. No words were exchanged. John only raised a hand, slowly, deliberately, as if beckoning him into the weight of his own sins. That night, Jasper dreamt of the river. He saw John rise from the waters, skin pale, lips trembling with unspoken rage. "Why, brother?" the voice whispered, not with anger, but with sorrow so heavy it crushed the air. Jasper woke drenched in sweat, his heart pounding like drums of war. But John's return was not only for vengeance. He walked through the town, and wherever he passed, old wounds opened. People remembered debts unpaid, betrayals hidden, promises broken. His presence was a mirror that forced men and women to confront the lies they had buried. He was justice, not just for himself, but for every silence that had been swallowed by fear. One evening, at the village square, under the same moon that had witnessed his death, John stood before Jasper. The villagers gathered in hushed awe, forming a circle that felt more like a court than a gathering. Jasper trembled, unable to speak, his knees weak beneath him. "Why did you do it?" an elder finally asked, breaking the silence that hung thick as smoke. Jasper's voice cracked. "Greed, envy. He had what I did not, and I thought if I took his life, I could take his place." Tears streamed down his face. "But every night, I have seen his eyes in my dreams. Every night, I have carried this weight." The crowd gasped, grief and anger rippling through them like fire in dry grass. Yet John did not speak. He stepped forward, his gaze fixed on Jasper, eyes not of hatred, but of a sorrow deeper than the river that once swallowed him. Slowly, he reached out a hand. Jasper fell to the ground, wailing, begging for forgiveness. In that moment, the wind shifted. The air grew heavy, then light again. And just as silently as he had returned, John began to fade. His form dissolved into mist, his face softening into a peace he had been denied in life. Justice had been served, not by blood, but by truth revealed. The villagers wept, some for John, some for Jasper, and some for themselves. For they realized that evil festers not only in one man's heart, but in the silences of those who look away. From that day, the people of Oba told their children the story of John, the man who came back from the dead seeking justice. And in their telling, they did not speak of vengeance, but of truth, that the earth may swallow blood, the river may carry bodies, but justice, no matter how delayed, will always find its way back.